Hey, this is Matt once again. What about the other videos? Another paid request. This time for Julie. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested, and if you're interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Julie wanted me to know what were the 10 worst movies of the 1980s. Now, that's very tough because I've seen quite a few movies, and a lot of times the really bad ones are the ones I forget the most out of. Like, for example, there's this one called Fright House from the 80s, which has, I think, Grandpa Munster from the Munsters, that actor's in it. And I know I ranted on it, and I know I reviewed it, but I can't remember a thing about it. But otherwise, I'm sure that would be in the top 10. And most of these is honestly horror or sci-fi. There's two, I guess one you would call a comedy. Action films, even the lesser action films I still enjoy because in the 80s, even some of the worst action films knew they give you the gunplay, they give you uh, some bit of excitement. And are there bad ones? Sure, but not for the worst ever, if that makes sense. Even some of the lesser ones kind of give you usually the bare minimum. Kind of in the 90s when you straight to video cheapo stuff where you start getting really bad ones. Now, number 10, I put Halloween 5. I know some would argue, really? But with how much I've ranted on that film throughout the years, throughout my channel, way back on my first channel, ranting on Halloween 5. And yeah, I mean, a film like Halloween Ends is worse, but we're talking about the 80s. And Halloween 5 was the first Halloween film I despised, because I liked the first four. I liked the first four quite a bit. And Halloween 5 just did everything wrong that a sequel could do wrong. From disregarding the interesting ending of Halloween 4 and make it seem like, nope, that's not really how it happened, to plot points of someone keeping Michael Myers for a year in their, whatever the hell the guy's hut, shack was. I don't want to keep this guy for a year and not tell anybody. To making Danielle Harris a good child actor. Let's have her not talk, so take away that. Let's give her a stuttering sidekick character of a kid that was rather irritating. Let's give, I don't know, cops that come in with goofy clown noises. Let's have a likable character. I'm bad with names. Cannot believe I forgot her name. Danielle Harris and Ellie Cornell. Let's get rid of her character, who did a great job in Halloween 4. Let's kill off that character. Instead, we have one of the most annoying characters. I would say she's the worst character until Corey and Halloween Ends came around. But Tina. Before Corey, there was Tina. Irritating, annoying, unlikable, terrible in every stretch of the word. The word. Tina. And then an ending where Dr. Loomis, who in this film is when Rob Zombie, when he was talking about Halloween films and he thought Dr. Loomis always seemed drunk, this must have been the only Halloween film he saw, because this is the one where he seemed like he was drunk and a raving lunatic and shaking little girls and doing all that stuff. That's when Dr. Loomis seemed like a lunatic, was in this one. Not in 1 or 2 or 4, in this one. And he was an unpleasant character. And then to stop Michael Myers is put a net around him, sedatives or tranquilizers, and a piece of wood. That's how you stop Michael Myers in this one. Lazy booking, lazy directing by Dominique Arthur and Gerard. The guy who got, fired from The Omen 4? You know how bad you have to be to get fired from The Omen 4? And then, thankfully, it was nice that they let Michael Myers keep his mask on at the end of Halloween 5. That was very considerate of them. You know, he's in jail, he's in handcuffs or whatever, but at least they let him keep the mask on. And that was nice. And then the Man in Black, which they admit they don't know who that was supposed to be, just let the people next time figure it out who made the next one. It could be Michael Myers' brother. It could be, I don't know, a space alien. It could be from Dimension X. It could be those one of those aliens from Buckaroo Banzai. I don't know. They didn't know. And he comes in with a machine gun and then a lukewarm ending. Like, I struggle to think of good things to say about Halloween 5. Now, I'm not big on Elm Street 5, but at least they did not kill off Lisa Wilcox's character. At least there's a couple death scenes, like the motorcycle bit, which is kind of fun to watch on its own and inventive. Although that has a lot of problems, and it's my least favorite of the six, but there's some aspects I can deal with. Friday the 13th Party Jason Takes Manhattan is a bad sequel. It's really the only one of the eight, well, really one of the, probably the only Friday the 13th film I outright dislike. But at the same time, it's for some reason never made me as mad as this. I think it's just the fact that you take a little Danielle Harris and you neuter her performance when she did a good job in the previous film. You take a likable character, like Ellie Cornell's character, and you kill her off. Like, this was just a bag of salt on the wound that just completely obliterated the sequel. And I know there are people that liked it, to each their own, but I don't know. Maybe the scene where Danielle Harris is trying to escape up the laundry chute, that's maybe the only scene worth a spit. But that's it. So I put down the list because it's Halloween 5. And again, if you've been on my channel since the beginning, you know how I feel about Halloween 5. Number 9, I put Terror on Tour. This is probably the worst slasher film I've seen from the 80s. Final Exam is close because it's very boring. But Terror on Tour looks like it cost the catering budget of Final Exam. And that's saying a lot. It doesn't help that anytime you find the film, it's in completely poor quality. Even one of my cats literally had a heart attack because I mentioned Terror on Tour. Did you hear that? You didn't hear that? One of my cats just had a stroke because I mentioned Terror on Tour. I mentioned it, hey! I don't blame him. Because here's the thing about it. It's the film with the cover that looks like three clowns with a guitar. And it's supposed to be a slasher film where you have a wannabe Kiss band. And someone who's in the makeup is killing people one by one. But I defy you to watch that film and not get bored. I defy you to watch that film, and I still don't really understand what was going on in the movie. It should be a simple story, but it felt very muddled of a story. I defy you to find any likable characters. It's not even, goofy charm. It's one of those films that is just incredibly dull. It doesn't even have good music. If you don't have a rock and roll horror film, at least have some good music. And maybe that could potentially be fun. A band is going around the country, but then you have either a fan or maybe it's a band member, but someone's dressed up on it and stalking the fans or stalking the groupies one by one. And hiding the bodies. And ultimately the bodies are found, and then blah, blah, blah. Not the case in Terror on Tour. Really, all you have to do is look up the trailer. And the trailer tells you how much of a winner it is. And like I said, I'm sorry that I can't go into much details of some of these movies. Just some of these movies I completely forgot. It's just when I say the name, I know there's this gut feeling of, yep, I remember hating that film so much. But if you want to know more detail, the review should still be up on the channel. And just type it up on YouTube. On the channel, listen, when you go to the channel, over here, there's a little magnifying glass, not the one up top. When you go to my channel and the little magnifying glass, you can type in the movie and find it. Number 8, I put The Telephone. Whoopi Goldberg. The film that Whoopi Goldberg did not want you to see. I think she tried to sue to get it off, but she lost. Most of the film is Whoopi Goldberg in a room talking on a telephone and doing either her wannabe Stitch impressions and being the most annoying person you can think of. Like she's trying to mimic a cooking show. It's like, nee, nee, nee. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Nee, nee, nee. Like, nah, 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 nah. And you think, okay, Whoopi Goldberg in a one-woman show. At this time, she was funny. Nowadays, she's not. But back then, she was funny. I love Jumpin' Jack Flash. I could watch Burglar for what it is. Ghost in 1990 is a great movie. And I think Jumpin' Jack Flash is her funniest movie. But this is... I mean, I would say this is even worse than Theodore Rex. Because Theodore Rex, at least stuff happens. It might be bad stuff with bad dinosaur effects, but at least it's practical, and a bad practical effect at least is more charming than a CGI effect nowadays. And Theodore Rex, maybe you can laugh at least. There's something there. Just for some reason they spent a budget on it. Here, there's nothing. It's just Whoopi Goldberg in a room talking on the phone. And the twist is the phone was shut off and she's been talking to no one, and she needs this because she had a psychotic break. So someone tries to take the phone. Whoopi Goldberg kills someone, then goes back to talking on the phone that we know now is not hooked up to anything. She talking to someone, turns to the camera, freeze frame, credits. Like literally, you could describe the film. Whoopi Goldberg talks on the phone, kills someone, is crazy. The end. Again, it's not funny. It goes on forever. You're wondering what the point is. And the twist, you know, it felt like it was more just desperate for something to happen, so the audience didn't, I don't know, puke in their mind and pee in their soul. So The Telephone is up there. Number 7, Going Overboard with Adam Sandler. Without a doubt, one of the worst comedies I've ever seen. There are bad comedies, don't get me wrong, throughout the years, from those epic movie, disaster movie, like those. Again, this is 80s. That's why I can't include those, because those were not in the 80s. That's why I can't include Neil Breen films, because they were not made in the 80s. Again, this is the top 10 worst movies of the 80s. And Going Overboard is the worst 80s comedy I've seen. Adam Sandler in his first stint being so out of place. Literally, the beginning of the film is talking about how, oh, we had this cruise ship and we shot this film. It's almost as if the beginning of the film, he's ready to apologize to the audience. I'm sorry that you're sitting through this. So we have Burt Young, Paulie from Rocky, playing Noriega, sitting and watching stuff on VHS that barely has anything to do with the plot, as playing General Noriega. Billy Zane pops in later as, was Poseidon or a god with a $3 trinket trident. Adam Sandler is trying to be a stand-up comic and is supposed to be bad, and it's just, you know, people make fun of Adam Sandler, but what he actually got into Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore I enjoy those films. He had a certain comic energy. Some didn't like it, some did. I did at the time and still do. And that carried over in Airheads, Bulletproof. He did not have that in this. Maybe the years of working SNL kind of tuned that up a bit, which he did after this, but this was him and his buddy trying to do stand-up comic material on this cruise ship. It was excruciating to listen to. The characters are incredibly boring. It was a tough sit. Here's a challenge. Watch that film without pausing the movie. Leaving, getting up and doing something. No, actually sit there and concentrate. You can't look at your computer. Can't go to the bathroom. There is no bathroom. You can't do anything. Just watch the film. I dare you. Without pausing it or anything. It's going to be hard to sit through. And I remember watching going, oh my God. This is... absolutely, indescribably terrible. Number 7, Black Devil Doll from Hell. The title kind of tells you the whole thing. It's also one of the more poorly made movies where the sound will go out, or there's a scene where it's supposed to be some type of thing going on, but you can't see what's going on. Or there's literally a ringing sound that happens, and the people are talking. You can't hear what they're saying. And it's shot on a bootleg VHS, it looks like, with people who can't act that they found at the garage sale, with a doll that they found at that same garage sale, saying, bitch, 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 you 18,000 times. And this woman found the doll. The doll did stuff to her. She liked it. She's attracted to it. When she starts being attracted to it, then the doll leaves. Then she gets other men, but she's not happy about it. So she tried to get the doll back, but then it ends up with her dying or something. Because she wants to have sex with... I don't know. I know maybe some people can laugh at the movie, but to me, I'm sitting there going... again, this is such a waste of... of everything. Of everything. Of everything. It's a waste of everything. Just to watch... I mean, like, some of these titles, if I'm not giving enough detail, go watch the trailers. Go watch the material. Go watch the stuff out there, man. I also remember that being one of Brad Jones' Cinema Snob's best reviews. It was that and one called... the same director also did a film called Tales from the Quaded Zone, which I did not watch that one, which is an anthology film. And... man. But those are like two of the best reviews Brad Jones' Cinema Snob did. Demented is number 5. That has one of the most irritating female leads. I mean, if I thought Tina in Halloween 5 was annoying, the way she acts and the way she... and this got a Blu-ray. Because of the world of rights issues, rights holders not giving stuff up because they want too much money, or not be able to find it, or 3-4 companies swallowed it up, or one company was bought into another company, so that they don't know where the rights, all the issues, all the money. We can't get Watchers on Blu-ray. We can't have The Hitcher, a 1986 film, on Blu-ray in the United States. We can't have that on Blu-ray in the US. We can't have Nightlife, which is an underrated film, on Blu-ray. We can't have Night of the Juggler on Blu-ray, let alone DVD. We can't have Murder by Phone, which is an underrated film, you know, goofy but fun Richard Chamberlain film, on DVD or Blu-ray. We can't have any of these films. We can't have Stakeout on Blu-ray. We can't have, you know, Nothing to Lose or Martin Lawrence and Tim Robbins or Money Toss or Chris Tucker. We can't have those films on Blu-ray, but we can have Demented, where a lady gets attacked And then she's like, oh, doe-eyed, pie in the sky, while her husband's cheating on her. And then she gets attacked again, and she's like, yee, yee, yee. And the reason I'm talking so quiet is because I don't want to blow my voice out yelling about these movies. Because I've done that before, and I don't want to be coughing for an hour. Just, I mean, even the trailer, the guy, if you watch the trailer, the guy doing narration can't even take it seriously. She was demented. Like, you could hear the confusion in the trailer guy's voice when you watch the trailer. Like, he's watching this performance girl. She was... I just see, like, the guy doing... demented. What am I... What you pay me for? Narrate this trailer? Okay. Alright. Again, the lead performance... I mean, if I had to give an award for the worst female performance of the 80s, it would be for this lady. It really would, in Demented. Not of all time. I'm saying in the 80s, it would be for this lady's performance. Number 4, The Alien Dead. I remember the VHS completely ripped off the cover of The Evil Dead. Like, literally verbatim ripped off the cover of The Evil Dead. But they just put The Alien Dead. At least one of the VHS covers, I should say. I want to say it's a Fred Olen Ray joint. Which, I mean, that guy's only made like 1 or 2 decent movies in history. The Alien Dead... This is one of those films I don't remember much about it, but... Like I said, just go watch the trailer. Go watch the material on it. That it just clearly shows you why. Just why. And I remember that just being so poorly made. Where I could not think of a good... like, even makeup is not... Like, there's nothing positive I could say about that film. I think Buster Crabbe from the old Flash Gordon films is in it. I think. Could be wrong on that. Anyway, even if... Who cares? Number 3, The Star Crystal. Now, this is a film I talked about a lot. Years and years ago, I did a thing called First Time Viewing. And this is one of those films I saw, and my God, I did like a reaction to it. It might still be up YouTube, actually, if you type in The Star Crystal. It was one of the more confusing tonal shifts where I kind of want to sit down with the writer and ask what the thought process of this whole thing was. To have a movie that's advertised as an alien ripoff. The alien in question is an orange booger. That's what it looks like. It kills people on a spaceship one by one, but then it goes on a computer. It reads an electronic Bible. And then it becomes a Jehovah's Witness. Because then it starts to talk, and then it starts to apologize. I'm sorry that I killed most of your crew. I'm sorry about that. And then the 2 remaining... forgive him because he didn't know better. Give him a spaceship. Say goodbye to him. He goes off. And the song at the end is Crystal of a Star, sung by one of the actresses from the Scooby-Doo cartoon. I forget if it was the one who did Daphne or Velma. I want to say Daphne. But one of the voice actors from the original Scooby-Doo does the song at the end. I remember sitting there just befuddled, confused. An alien killing people that looks like an orange booger reads an electronic Bible becomes a Jehovah's Witness. Knocking on your door. Would you like a Bible? And maybe it sounds goofy fun to some people. It's not. And that got a Blu-ray. That got a Blu-ray. Repeat my rant for Demented. All these other films, because of all the rights issues and money and legalities, they can't get a physical release. But the Star Crystal could. Oh yeah, if you see the cover, where it looks like a cool looking creature, it's not in the movie. So, false advertising. Number 2 is a film that felt like a fever dream, and that's all I remember it as, a fever dream. Horror House on Highway 5. Number 1, I know the cover ripped off Alone in the Dark, the 1982 film, which is actually a pretty decent movie. But the poster completely ripped off that movie's poster. And it's a fever dream where at one point someone wears a president mask, and good luck at making heads or tails on the plot. Yeah, again, it's one of those films I don't remember much about. It was just like a fever dream. Horror House on Highway 5. I apologize I don't have any details for you, Julie, because I don't remember the film. But it's one of those things where this instant, yep, that one just had a complete disgust over me. Number 1, I do remember Newtie. I know Red Letter Media recently reviewed it, but there's other people, Cinema Snob, me, other people reviewed it before they did. Newtie is the worst film of the 80s. Bar none. If you think Matamy is bad, and it is bad, Matamy is bad. But when a movie where an alien, or a guy in an alien suit is dancing in McDonald's is better, you know how bad Newtie is then. I mean, I could make the reference there's a bunch of duty, I could make the reference that it's just one of the most poorly made movies ever. The effects make Matamy look like E.T., make Matamy look like Blade Runner. The production values, it sometimes doesn't know what its plot wants to be. It wants to be two aliens separated and one's looking for the other alien, but then it wants to throw on this stuff with Steve Railsback, who just does not want to be there. You want to see a guy's soul die in front of camera, you look at Steve Railsback in that movie, and then he disappears, and many times we'll go back to the compound, and then this computer at the compound, military compound, is talking with the other alien, while Newtie's wandering around Africa, meeting people and meeting kids of a tribe. At one point, it's showing the kids these, wants to, I say dance, but that's killing the word dance and burying in a grave, trying to throw these fireworks or stuff. When you get to the ending of the film, where it looks like they just ran out of money, where Newtie and other people seem like they're dead and gone, and the one tribe chief just sits down and says, I wish they were here. And just by saying he wishes, Newtie is there, and his family is there, and everybody's there. And then Steve Railsback just comes in on a helicopter with the other alien. We never saw how Steve Railsback got the alien out. We never saw Steve Railsback interact with the alien. It just all of a sudden how did he do that? It's like all that stuff. Him getting the alien, finding out, getting the alien out. That was all. None of that was filmed. None of that was filmed. Like I said, I have a review of it up on the channel that goes into much, much more detail. I'd definitely say most of these I reviewed. And again, if you want more detail, because if I wanted more detail, this video would be like an hour. It's already half an hour. Newtie is abysmally edited, poorly acted, bargain basement special effects, and incompetent in terms of a storyline. Just pure incompetence. I wouldn't trust these people with a piece of paper and a crayon who made this damn movie. I wouldn't trust them to tie my shoes, let alone directing a script. So number 1, Newtie. Number 2, Horror House on Highway 5. Number 3, The Star Crystal. Number 4, The Alien Dead. Number 5, Demented. Number 6, Black Devil Doll from Hell. Number 7, Going Overboard with Adam Sandler. Number 8, The Telephone with Whoopi Goldberg. Number 9, Terror on Tour. And number 10, Halloween 5. You rather watch Matt, you mean, Halloween 5? Halloween 5 made me more mad because of what it did with Halloween 4 and what it did with characters. That makes me more mad. Sometimes a movie can be more competently made, but if it made me more mad and pissed emotionally, it goes up the ladder. Because to me, movies, a big part of it is the emotion you feel towards it. Because that's the point, is to elicit emotion. Sadness, laughter, adrenaline. And when it's a negative emotion, then to me, yeah, it goes up a few notches. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.